Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice lunch break because I didn't. I had to sort out the technical problems. But we're halfway through the summit. From 12 people, 6 have already showed their insights and secrets about prospecting and outreach, and 6 more left. And I really hope that we're going to continue with the same quality as before, because even me personally, I learned a lot during this 6 session. So take it from here. I don't want to take any additional time from Vasko's presentation. Moni, if you can continue from here.
Yes, just a short introduction about Vasko. Vasko is a growth enthusiast, certified management consultant, MBA and passionate entrepreneur. Served hundreds of organizations for business expansion or turnaround for 15 years of professional consultant. His extensive experience in the last 20 years includes positions as CEO, Chief Growth Officer, Governing Board Member, Project and Program Developer, Program Evaluator, Monitoring Officer, Performance Coach, Visiting Lecturer, Editor-in-Chief, Mentor, Facilitator, etc. His current position is VP of Sales for Nextsales, LLC, US, sales development as a service company. Vasko will now present the topic growing the sales pipeline with cold outreach. Vasko, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monica. I guess I was expecting that this would be the easy explanation than quoting all the experience. So I have 20 minutes for the presentation. Thank you, Monica and Dancho. I'm really grateful and blessed to be at this event and hearing all those great speakers providing so much value. And it's really an honor to be part of this crew that will share part of their experience and knowledge with the rest of us. So hopefully you will get something from my session as well. So in short, this session is grow your sales pipeline through cold outreach. And it's a session that, all companies need new clients. All companies are seeking to grow sales. I don't know a company that doesn't require something like that. My focus will be as VP of Sales of Nextsales. We are a sales development company in the US market, outreaching for the US market, for US clients and clients from elsewhere that are happy to and eager to grow their sales in North America, primarily US. So my focus will be on the B2B sales, cold outreach with the experiences from US. I've heard a lot of great experiences about Europe and the differences and the different tools and approaches used. My point is to say why each company would need a sales development department. Like we have a marketing department, sometimes it's an HR department, but we also do need a sales development department in wider companies or in the sales department, at least as a function that needs to be done. I did prepare a presentation, but I will not go through it. So I was thinking, what is the easiest story to comprise everything that I need to say? And it came out that there is one story that my younger son always wants to hear, and that's the little piggies and the big bad wolf. And I was thinking of another one. And to be honest, I was not able to get to one, at least on time. So I decided to tell you a story about the three little piggies and the big bad wolf, where the piggies are going to be different stages of companies in sales development, in outreach, and what we can learn from them and how we can adapt or potentially think of them as how they build their house, how they build their business and save themselves from the big bad wolf. In my story is short. It sounded confusing doing this and that. I have established my first consulting company for first time 17 years ago. Now I'm working for a US company, Nextsales. We are providing outsourced sales development department, like built-in department for our clients. And we are handling cold outreach through phone, email, and LinkedIn. I know cold calls are something that I hated myself and I really didn't like, and I thought they were dead. Obviously, they are not, and obviously they are a channel which is quite legitimate and brings a lot of traction and a lot of prospects and a lot of sales conversations if done properly. Now, let's divide. I know it's human to human, it's business to entrepreneur. There were many aspects we were taking care of. I'm not talking about the business to customer business models. I'm talking about business to business models. and there is a different. It's a different animal. It might not seem so for someone that is starting their outreach or starting their sales approach or sales career, or even someone looking from the side if they're not active in sales, but it's a different animal. So I'm talking about the B2B sales space, which is quite easier, let's put it in easy terms, because there is a math formula to follow. For me, for a guy who hated the word sales until I changed my view and my limiting belief in watching sales as matching needs and solutions between someone that is looking for has a need and looking for a solution and the one that provides it. So for quite some decades, I was redundant to call myself a salesperson. The other shock coming from the consulting business, where 90% of my sales were through referrals, and I had 80-90% closing rates, cold outreach, getting to the outbound sales, whatever you call it these days, and whatever buzzwords are now important, was shocking to me because it had 2%, 10%, 15% close rates. Some of the presentations showed like cold calling bringing, I don't know, 2 to 5, inbound webinars bringing 1 to 2. So there is quite just response rates. I'm not talking about the closing rates. The closing rates are much lower than going through referral. But anyway, any company that needs to grow, go beyond friends and family, and go beyond referrals from current clients, needs to set up a sales function, needs to set up a cold outreach. How they were going to do it, depending on where you are at the time being. So coming back to the stories of the 3 little piggies and the big bad wolf, I would say, well, the big bad wolf, I will not talk about them a lot, but it's our competitors, our top talent available to recruit or not available to recruit for the functions we need, changing tech for prospecting and outreach, because we're at the prospecting and outreach summit. So, I mean, a lot of tech and tools were presented here, but there is tons of others that are coming up every day, everyone promising to be better than the previous one. And I'm not saying they're not. Just it's a confusing from the side of an owner, of a VP of sales, of chief revenue officer. There is a churn of talent. Now the silence quitting, the great resignation, of all these trends globally. And if we go wider, increasing interest rates, changes in legislation for our industry, scary recession coming, war in Europe, cash flow versus our growth, business growth goals. All of that is the big bad wolf. And we all know it, so I will not go about it. Let's not call it piggy, but I would like to tell you about Bill, the founder. He's a CEO, like through the story of how sales development and if sales development is for this company. And I hope we will answer that at the end of this upcoming 30 minutes I have left. So we have a CEO founder with an engineering background, developed a great SaaS product. No matter how many iterations they got there, they have a great product, but Bill is not a salesperson. So let's take it hypothetically that it's a subscription model that brings $50,000 to $60,000 annually from a single client. No matter how great the product, if you don't sell it, if you don't promote it, if you don't market it, nobody will know about it. And we all know the 3 functions of every business: sales, development and delivery, operations, and finances. So if we summarize all those 3, sales is one of them. So he goes to a summit like this one and looks at all the different tools, what channels to use. Some say email is better, the other ones say LinkedIn is better, social media is better, generating through webinars leads, through podcast leads. Like you use automation, you can sleep over. He goes on social media. He says, Bill goes on social media and sees all these different promises that you don't need anything, doesn't have a playbook, not clear about the ideal customer profile, has assumption of it, but didn't test the market. Should he do it himself? Should he take someone to join his company? What if it doesn't work? The pressure is on doing it great. So whatever step he takes for his company, Bill, the first piggy, the option is to do it themselves or and get an experience like Mark did in the start in the cold outreach, or outsource it to professionals, but he doesn't know the process. Should he do it inbound, outbound, outsource, in-house? Who is the first person to employ? Which tech to take first? So let's stay with these options and questions for Bill. Andrew, we can call him the second piggy, or usually I think the three little piggies were brothers. So let's say this is the older brother who saw what Bill is struggling with, and he already is one stage ahead. So it might be Bill that has employed Andrew after a while, who grew his sales funnel. But let's keep it like it's a separate story. But both options work in the real life. So Andrew is a VP of sales. He has seen and been where Bill was, and has structured the sales process. But he's still skeptical about outsourcing any sales function, having it's in domain, it's priority for the company. So he builds a great teams of sales managers or account executives, as they're called in US. And he says, well, we'll save money, we'll make them full cycle salespeople. They can prospect anyway. Everybody in sales is prospecting, every CEO is prospecting, every owner is prospecting. So we should prospect permanently. Why not give it to them? They will prospect, close, qualify, take sales meetings, do the demos, send out offers, do the contracting, and close the deals. The primary challenges in this case with Andrew, with his house that this piggy is building, is full sales cycle management, not always full potential. So it's jumping, no focus, jumping from prospecting to presentation to closing, leaving the prospecting, coming back again. So there is not a predictable and constant prospecting or constant follow-up with the prospects that already raised their hand and took on a sales conversation. Sales tech utilization is usually sophisticated. Tools are not used to their maximum, and there is no consistency in the outreach. So the solution would be specialized focus, of course, with a goal for the company to have time and cost efficiency, and put the appropriate, and that is the question, I think it was mentioned all the time, like what is the number of touches in prospecting, but I would say also the number of touches in follow-ups after a sales meeting to get them to a close. So those are different cadences, different sequences, some less customized, some the ones that we already have a conversation with, hopefully fully customized. So the idea, what is the need, and the best possible scenario that Andrew can have is have higher focus on sales conversations for the account executives to close, while they would focus on closing the deals and following up with someone already interested. However, who would do the prospecting? So sales development reps are a potential here, whether it's inbound or outbound. Let's leave it at that. And Kevin, now this is the third piggy, I guess the one that is building the brick house. What I would say, probably the stage of development above Bill and Andrew. That means that they have passed the stages of Bill and Andrew. So let's call him Kevin, who is the chief revenue officer of a growing company. He has a team of VPs, in-house sales department. He has a clear sales funnel or sales stages set up. The processes are known. There is a team with sales development reps, business development reps, account executives or sales managers who are prospecting and full scale. They still have troubles. Whether it's SDR recruitment as human labor and onboarding, training and performance management, there is a churn of the labor force, getting them ramp up to quota, getting them to have 100% outreach. The leads, people are changing jobs too often recently, it seems. So contact enrichment is an issue, management and maintenance of those contact issues. And the solution is to faster recruit and onboard, focus on and have better lead updates and enrichment. Now, these three little piggies, why am I mentioning them? Just let me come back to a slide. No matter of where you are or what is your situation, there are several factors that sales development as full scale, not lead generation. Lead generation is piece of the sales development. I'm talking about sales development as a wider function in a company. is not for all companies to do, no matter if outsourced or in-house. So if there is a low ticket sale, so if you're selling a ticket for 45 per company, I'm talking still only about the B2B space, you probably sales development is not the appropriate way to go. I mean, cost effective, that would bring you return on investment of your efforts. If you have a small total addressable market, if you're talking about 100 or 200 people, some say shotgun approach, but I have a comment on that in some regards. Shotgun approach is not the best way to go. The high lifetime value, it might be key and is key for you to get return on investment. Otherwise, you would require some unimaginable volume of meetings. No matter, so, I often see that in companies that they say, well, we have an inbound webinar setup channel. We have podcast channel that we get people from our website, show interest and leads in. And I'm saying leads in because we talk about different stages of the leads. And what is the conversion rate? 2%. So, some might use that and it's okay for some companies to do it. And I'm not saying it's a bad way to do it. I'm just saying that sales development as a function, as a department, in-house or outsourced, does require at least higher lifetime value of a client, which, I mean, if you're a startup, so lifetime value might be too much for you. So let's say, what is your annual recurring revenue or deal size for this year per client, and calculate your lifetime value from there. I will not go into the details now. A reachable market, of course, is one aspect to consider. Differentiated offer. We all say that we are the best than everybody else, but not all clients agree on that. And having a sales team is key. A commitment of a sales team. Having everything outsourced in the sales process doesn't really work. Have the stages, outsource the less valuable part of the outreach would be better than, trying to do everything in-house or trying to outsource everything. So why am I speaking about sales development in relation? We mentioned all the buzzwords in sales, outbound, cold outreach, lead generation. Sales development comprises of lead generation. It comprises of talent doing the outreach, automations and sales stack doing the outreach, playbooks, scripts, copyright of scripts, cadence, and sometimes we all forget the performance management, the team management, the campaign management, the outreach management. So if you're thinking of whether to go outsource or in-house, whether to build your department in-house or partly outsource it, I mean, the journey is the same. Like, I don't know who had it earlier, like it's attention, build trust, and create leads. I think might have been Martin, but attention, build trust, and create leads is the way to go. It's just the difference in the way to go it. So if you can do it, and it requires patience in both cases. So if you look at Bill, the founder, it would take him more time to get to mature outreach compared to Andrew or Kevin. Not because of other things, but because he needs to test the ideal customer profile, whether he has it clear to make a product market fit. So at that stage, it's questionable whether his company should develop, have a department, except maybe with external financing or to cover the cash flow challenges, and having patience to do it for a year until to get to the level where Andrew and Kevin with their companies can come in 1 to 3 months with mature outreach, with clear playbooks, with A/B testing that has enabled them to get sales qualified leads. Now, I know I have 2 more minutes, so I have 2 points to make. One, we are talking about generating leads, and all the time we are talking about generating leads. At which stage? If you look at the stages as visitor, lead, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead, and then the sales conversation that is taking place. In sales development, when it's cold outreach, you're getting scheduled meetings with sales qualified leads. Not all vendors offer that. So we are not all the same in this world, right? All of us are different. However, comparing, let's say, to an inbound website generated or webinar generated, Yeah, there is intent. Yes, there is a lead-in, but it does require qualification to be sure that it's a marketing qualified lead, and the sales development department can make them or qualify them further on and get them to a sales qualified lead. Why I'm saying this? Because until, if we see it, visitor lead, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead, and starting the sales conversation, the sales qualified lead is going into the sales conversation with the closer and the marketing leader, and the rest is all within the sales development scope of work, and no matter the conversion rates. Why I'm saying this? Because in marketing qualified leads, there is much bigger volume, like depending on the channel. Now, let's not talk about concrete numbers if you don't compare, not to compare apple and pears, apples and oranges. However, it has bigger volume, but less conversion rates. In good sales development for your company, 80+% of the meetings attended are qualified and continue in a sales conversation. So just to sum up, in these last few seconds I have left, Bill, Andrew, and Kevin are at different stages of development. They have a different organizational structure. While Bill is market testing and trying to get the product market fit, of course, he's talking of scaling. In fact, he talks about the establishment of several of the aspects of the sales development and trying to get to the right client. There is ICP, ideal client profile cleansing needed more probably than Andrew and Kevin. The experience in cold outreach is none, so maybe he needs to burn to get to the stage where Andrew is or Kevin is. So to understand that in-house is not always the best option. You don't control it because you need a sales composition, you need copyright, you need the right sales stack, it's integration, following the new sales stack. So like Skylead and Milt Alfred are great, but how to integrate that with the CRM and the other elements. So in summary, on the first run, like from the stories from Bill, Andrew, and Kevin, I would say Kevin and Andrew do require a sales development department, outsourced or in-house. The difference is on time and cost. How much can you get there where you want to go, and how much it will cost you to decide on which option. Of course, when I'm talking about cost, I'm also talking about return on investment from the services. So for those, just take a note, just as an action items. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm open for questions. Take a piece of paper, write on the left side what stage your company development is in, where do you want to be in 1 year, and put the calculations on labor, meaning salary, let's say of SDRs, BDRs, sales team, benefits and commission, don't forget those. The costs of, let's say, business development representatives, recruiting and onboarding, and how much time it will take to get them to quota, ramp them up with mentoring of your team. Sales tech, so outreach tech, whether it's phone, email, or LinkedIn, or CRM, or automations, or team management, dashboards, report analytics, all the tech stack included. The lead generation, meaning the source of contacts enrichment, whether you pay for it or it's you generated it, you scrape it, but it still costs your time or the person's time that does it. Verifying, so cleansing, verifying, and maintenance of data, of lead generation. It's not just getting the data and enriching it with, it's cleansing, verifying, and maintenance on permanent basis. Put that as a cost. Playbook creation, copyright scripts, call, email, LinkedIn, voicemail, social media, sequencing, operationalization of that playbook. Sales ops labor, you need IT guys to do the generating, A/B testing, measuring, reporting. And always forgotten when comparing how to go next, management and oversight. So this is my point, like take the paper, write the cost down and check where you are at. If you're in Bill's position, usually you think it's easy and it's less costly. But sometimes, even outsourcing is much less costly than doing it in-house, or at least you will know what part to outsource based on the cost you have if doing it in-house. That was my speech about the 3 little piggies and the wolf that came out this morning.
Thank you very much, Vasko. I saw that we've already ate 5 minutes from the Q&A, and that's why I said, you know what, I have to jump in, because
Sure.
in 5 minutes we have another speaker. Let me just have a look at the question. I had one simple question, is that about the sales development.
Sure.
Companies decide to outsource the whole sales development. Is there any benchmark in how long does it take to get the return of investment from a company view? Like a CEO, if they say, okay, let me get a sales development team, is
Okay.
it 3 months? Is it a year? Is it 5 years? Is there any metric to share?
I don't know if there is a time and if there is a standard there, because usually in the outsourced, there are two plays in place. Some say like performance guarantees, sign with us for a year, pay us for the whole year, and we'll guarantee you this number of meetings. Now that's one aspect. The other potential is, so it's cost per meeting. Usually it's like the common ground, easy to understand for someone that has not been long in the space. I mean, even we in Nextsales, we are using return on investment, and we make sure that we are at 200% return on investment from our services. And we know that moment that we are in mature outreach, and we get there in 1 to 5 months.
Nice.
From starting with us. Now, I'm not saying that is like average, or that it is for everybody, or that every vendor does that. I'm saying like the generated potential revenue through meetings attended, qualified with the sales team of your company is at least 200% from the services you pay. Now, that's what we are trying to improve. That's our model. I'm not saying that there is a thing that besides the return on investment, I would say plan at least a year. If you would hire a sales manager, you cannot tell him like, here is a month. If you don't sell something, go away. You have 90 days of ramp up. Yeah, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If the person is not for that position, But if it's a right person, you still give them a year. Give them a year. Give them at least 6 months. Try to
show some results.
Get sure to get there. Yeah.
Got it. I don't have any additional questions at this stage, Vasko. There's going to be the lobby, so if there are people with additional questions, they can just reach out to you directly. Monica is here. Moni?
Hi, Moni.
Thank you.
21 minutes, Moni. I was 1 minute more than 20. I think at least my clock stayed there.
Thank you once again, Vasko.
Thanks, everybody.